The topic for this video is product positioning. This concept is critical for any business creating products in a competitive market. We will start with the foundational theory and then demonstrate its application in a practical example that combines traditional business with modern AI technology. Positioning is fundamentally about understanding and influencing perceptions. Essentially, what will others think about your product? While we might not always prioritize others' opinions in our personal lives, when selling a product, perceptions directly impact sales and adoption rates. Positioning goes beyond your core product value. It's an additional layer that communicates specific benefits to customers. For example, at a bakery, the bread itself might be the core value, but positioning might emphasize the freshest bread in town, wholesome healthy ingredients, or support your friendly local baker. These positioning statements address different customer priorities while selling the same fundamental product. Effective positioning follows a three-step process. Firstly, customer research, then product alignment, and finally, clear communication. Customer research involves learning about what your target customers genuinely want and value. Product alignment involves ensuring that your product genuinely reflects customer priorities. And clear communication involves informing customers about benefits through strategic advertising and messaging. In other words, effective positioning starts with understanding what your customers want, customer research, then creating a product that reflects this, product alignment, and then explaining this to customers, clear communication. Common positioning failures occur when businesses skip one of these critical steps. Firstly, neglecting customer research. If you fail to understand what your customers want, you might position your product to solve a problem that nobody has. Most solutions do theoretically add value, but an important question is whether it adds enough value to justify the cost. Secondly, poor product alignment. If you know what your customers want, it is still possible to fail by not delivering those attributes consistently in your product. In this case, you risk unintentional positioning, where the positioning that you aim for and the positioning that you achieve are different. For example, if you try to position yourself as a premium product, but the product lacks quality, your real positioning will be a budget product that is overpriced. Finally, ineffective communication. It is possible to have a great product that perfectly meets customer needs, but still fails if you don't articulate its value properly. If your customers don't understand the value that your product has, to a large extent, it might as well not have that value, at least as far as sales are concerned. Let's explore an example of poor product alignment. A software developer might start with the goal of creating a simpler solution to a technical problem, simplicity being the core positioning. However, as development progresses and edge cases emerge, feature creep can result in a complex product that no longer aligns with the original value proposition of simplicity. Next, in terms of communication, developers may fall into the trap of focusing on technical features rather than customer benefits. Potential users often care less about innovative code architectures and more about how the product solves their specific problem more efficiently, more reliably, or more conveniently than the alternatives. For our case study, let's imagine that we own a bakery. This bakery offers various bread types made from different grains and recipes. We've identified a problem. Customers often feel overwhelmed by choices or end up purchasing bread that doesn't match their preferences. Instead of placing the burden of choice entirely on our customers, we could create an AI-powered recommendation system that guides our customers to the perfect bread based on their preferences. Choosing to build this AI-powered recommendation system will affect our positioning. However, positioning doesn't end there. As we build and implement this solution, we'll need to make numerous decisions that affect our product positioning. Each choice will influence how customers perceive both the technology and the bakery experience. We have now created a minimum viable product, or MVP. In this initial implementation, we will take the user's input, combine it with a context prompt that explains available bread options, their benefits, and interaction guidelines. Then we send this to a LLM through an API. The response is then sent back and displayed to the user. Positioning is really an art. There's no real right answer, but let's look at some of my thoughts. We may be very proud of the modern product that we have created, and thus we might want to hang up a massive sign that says AI-powered bakery. However, customers may perceive this as the start of an AI apocalypse. A more effective approach might be a subtle sign reading "Find your perfect bread match" or "Personalized bread recommendations available." This positioning focuses on the benefit to customers rather than the technology itself. It considers customers' emotional response to technology while delivering the same innovative service. Let's say our recommendation system significantly increases sales as customers find breads better suited to their preferences. The natural next step might be expanding the AI capabilities, perhaps allowing customers to place orders through the LLM. However, we must carefully consider how these changes align with our overall positioning. The essence of a good bakery experience often includes human connection, sensory experiences like smelling fresh bread, and the charm of traditional craftsmanship. Adding too much technology could distract from these elements even if the technology itself works perfectly. This shows why positioning requires ongoing consideration throughout product development. For each new feature, we need to be careful to not lose sight of what our customers actually want. So let's focus on improving what worked, our bread finder, without adding new AI features that might complicate the customer experience. Based on our positioning analysis, we have decided to focus on improving our core recommendation system rather than adding new AI features that might complicate the customer experience. We have implemented what is called a Model Context Protocol (MCP) server, a more sophisticated approach that separates our data from our code. Rather than hard coding bread recipes and descriptions in our application, we are now storing this information in a database. This technical improvement directly supports our positioning in several ways. Firstly, scalability. We can easily add new bread types, descriptions, and health information without changing code, allowing us to respond quickly to customer preferences. Then, accuracy. The database ensures that our AI always has the most up-to-date information about our offerings, improving recommendation quality. And finally, consistency. The structured database approach ensures consistent messaging about our products across all customer interactions. The MCP server architecture might seem like a purely technical decision, but it's actually critical to our positioning strategy. By improving the backend infrastructure, we're enhancing the accuracy and reliability of our customer-facing recommendation system, reinforcing our position as providers of personalized, high-quality bread recommendations. To conclude, product positioning is the bridge between what your product does and how customers perceive its value. Effective positioning requires understanding customer needs, aligning your product with those needs, and clearly communicating the benefits. In our bakery example, we saw how technical decisions impact positioning and how positioning considerations should guide product development. By focusing on customer benefit, finding the perfect bread, rather than the technology itself, AI, we created a solution that enhances rather than disrupts the traditional bakery experience.